Now we'll actually start working with AutoCAD. But before we begin working with AutoCAD, I want you to familiarize with 2018, 19 and 20 version of AutoCAD because we'll be using all the three versions in this course. Now, to begin with 2018 version, well, this is how it looks like. So on the very left, I have 2018 version of AutoCAD, then I have 2019 and 2020. So 2018 version and 19 version, they look almost similar with subtle changes in the user interface icons, but the 2019 version has kind of a noticeable difference, and you can see that the user interface now has this smoky black color of ribbons and much more colorful icons. So about the user interface, this is the only change that you'll notice. There are, however, new features added in every single version of AutoCAD. And in this course, I've included all the new features of 2018, 2019 and 2020 versions, and they are included in the respective modules. Now, to highlight the differences in the user interface, I'm going to first go to this 2018 version. And now here in this version, the icons like a trim icon and the block icon, the property icon, they are changed and they look a bit modern. So this is how the icons used to look like in 2018, and now in the 2019 version the trim icon looks like this, and you can see the difference here. Let me just go to that again. Here's the trim. It looks like this. Now the block icon looks like this in 2019, although it used to look like this in the 2018 version. Also the property panel, well, it's different. So a much more flat and colorful kind of feel has been added in the 2019 version. Now let's just close this 2018 version of AutoCAD, and now I'll compare 2019 with 2020. So here in this case, again, we have same set of icons. The icons are not changed, and if I expand this one, you'll notice that we have exactly same set of icons. The only major difference which you'll notice here, well, as I mentioned earlier, is the color of user interface. So functionally, the versions 2018, 19 or 20, no matter what you're using, they are exactly the same. They have same set of tools, and wherever required, the new tools and features of all of these versions are discussed in the course. Now, throughout this course, we'll be using AutoCAD 2018 version primarily because this is the version which is mostly in use in the industry. But for discussing the new features of the respective version, I've used the software of that particular version. So now I'm gonna go to this AutoCAD 2019 and I'll maximize this. And now let's have a look at the user interface. So when you start AutoCAD, you will reach this start screen. So when you start AutoCAD for the first time, this is how your AutoCAD software will look like. We'll have this start tab, and this start tab will have three columns. So we have get started, recent documents and notification columns. In the get started column, we have this start drawing panel from where you can start completely new drawing, or you can select these predefined templates to start your drawing from. Now these templates are ready-made settings, and these settings include the settings related to units, dimensions and other properties, and you can make these templates yourself and you can start your drawing using your own custom templates as well. But in this case, we'll start with the default template AutoCAD.dwt. This is the highlighted one. So if you click on start drawing, AutoCAD will start your drawing using this template. We'll do that in a moment. You can also open existing file using open files option. You can open a sheet set. You can explore more templates online or explore sample drawings using this option. Now, when you open new drawings, it will show up in this list. So this is the last drawing which I opened, and this is the date and time. And also when I hover my cursor, it's going to show the location of that drawing on the tooltip. This list has all the documents which I've recently opened, and if you want to change the view of this list, you can select these icons. So you can change it to the thumbnail view or to the list view. I'm going to change it back to the default view. Now we have some push pins, and using these push pin, you can fix these drawings permanently. So now whenever you open a new drawing, it will be added to this list from here, and these two drawings will always remain at the top because of the push pin. But if you want to let go of these drawings, then select the push pins again, and now the new drawings will start adding from this top drawing. Here in the notification column, you will be notified of the new updates and the notifications related to your software, and you can see your A360 account related information right here on this panel. So now let's start our blank template. So I'll go to this template, and as you can see, AutoCAD.dwt is selected. So if you click here, the drawing will start with this setting. Or if you want to start your drawing without any template, then you can also select no template imperial if you want to use imperial unit of feet and inches, or you can start with the metric units. So it's up to you. If you don't want to use a template, select either of these, or select AutoCAD.dwt to start your drawing from the default template, or just click on this big button right here, Start Drawing Panel, and your drawing will start from whatever template you have selected here. In this case, AutoCAD.dwt. So I'll click here. And now a new drawing opened up. This is drawing number 2. Now in this user interface, on the top left, we have this application button. Using this application button, you can access some frequently used tools, like you can open a new drawing, you can open existing drawing, you can save the file, save as, you can import files of other formats, and you can export these files, you can print, publish, and you can select other options, including the units. These tools are also available on this quick access toolbar. So you can see the same set of tools right here on the quick access toolbar. Now, some of these tools, like Open from Web and Mobile and Save to Web and Mobile, are new to AutoCAD 2019, and you won't be able to see these tools in the older versions of AutoCAD. The AutoCAD software now uses this tab and panel view, and this area with tabs and panel is called the ribbon area. So we have this ribbon area on which we have all of these tabs: Home tab, Insert tab, Annotate tab, and so on. And on these tabs, we have these panels. So this one is Draw panel, Modify panel, Annotation panel, and all of these panels are on Home tab. So these tabs are arranged in a logical way, and just like every software, you will find similar set of tools on a particular panel. For example, all the tools related to inserting anything in AutoCAD will be found here. For all the annotation tools, you need to go to this Annotate tab, and so on. Home tab contains a combination of all of these tools, and it generally has the frequently used tools in AutoCAD. So all the draw related commands are here, the modify commands are here, annotation are here, layers here, and so on. Although in this case, this tabbed view is preferred, still if you want to use the menu, which was a classical feature in the older versions of AutoCAD, then you can do that pretty easily. To show the menu, go to this down pointing arrow and select Show Menu Bar, and now you'll have this extra menu bar which you can use to access your commands. Now once again, this is similar to these tabs and panels. For example, if you want to access draw commands, you can go to Draw menu, and we have all the draw commands right here. The modify commands are right here, the parametric commands here, and so on. The dimensions are here. So you can also access your tools from here. So I'm going to go to this menu again, and I'll hide the menu bar. We don't need it. Now these panels, although they look permanently fixed here, they are floating type, and you can move these panels out of this ribbon area. Now to move these panels out, all you need to do is just grab these panels. So I'm going to click on Draw, and now this will expand to show all the hidden tools and also this blank area. So just click anywhere in the blank area and drag it out. And now this will work like a floating panel, and this tab will adjust to fit all the remaining panels. If you want to move it back to its original location, all you need to do is just hover your cursor, close to this right side of the panel and click on this return panel to ribbon icon, and this will return back to right here to the home tab. Most of these panels contain extra tools which are visible when you select this arrow, and when you select that, you're going to see all of these extra tools. If you move your cursor out of this area, the panel will collapse automatically, but if you want to keep it open permanently, then you can expand the panel and click on this push pin to keep it permanently open. In this case, I'll click on this push pin again, and this will collapse. Now here we have the drawing tab. So we have the start tab, which we have seen already. Then we have drawing 2, and if you want to open more drawing tabs, all you need to do is click on this plus icon, and then you'll have a new tab and you can create as many tabs as you want. To close the tabs, just click on this X icon to close it. This part of the AutoCAD software is called drawing area, and this is the area where real magic happens. This is the area where everything in AutoCAD will be drawn. Now this area has the navigation controls right here and the visual style controls. We have the view cube, the navigation bar, and the UCS. You can control visibility of all of these tools from the view tab. So right here on the view tab, we have these options, UCS icon, which is right now selected. Click on this and the UCS will disappear. We have view cube, click and it will disappear, and then navigation bar, just click on it and it will also disappear. You can also control the visibility of file tabs. So these are file tabs. You can click on this file tabs if you don't want to show them. And you can also control the visibility of layout tabs, and these are the layout tabs. You can just toggle its visibility like this. To bring it back, just click on these icons once again and you'll have them back in your drawing. Now I'll go back to Home tab, and here we have the command line. So let's talk about this. So this is the command line, command bar, command palette, whatever you want to call it. But throughout this course, I'll call it command line. Now every command which you enter in AutoCAD will show up right here, and you can start any command in AutoCAD simply by clicking on these icons on the ribbon, or you can type its alias, or you can type the command name also on the command line. To type the command name, you don't need to click your cursor right here and type the name. Rather, you just need to simply start typing. And when you type anything, it will be added right here on the command line. So now I've got the C and I'll type circle and it will show me the commands here. So we have circle and T circle. These are the two commands that we have here, and we have a system variable as well. We'll talk about these later on. So now I'll press escape to get rid of these selections. And then we have the status bar, which will help us in making precise drawings. So status bar is also an important tool, which we'll discuss. And finally, let's talk about the command search feature. So as you can see, we have a lot of commands right here on the ribbon and these tabs, and also there are some commands which are not available on the ribbon. So it may get a little intimidating for you to actually find the tool that you need. But AutoCAD has made this process a lot easier, and you can actually find the location of any tool or command in this user interface. Now to find the location of any command, all you need to do is just go to this application button and start typing the name of command. Now in this case, I'll start typing circle, and here it is. So AutoCAD will find out all the tools or commands with similar name or similar functions, and it will also show you these results with the best possible match on the top. So we have the circle command right here. This is what we needed. And actually we have 6 different ways of making circle. That's fine. Let's look at the first option. Here on the Home tab, Draw Panel, Circle Flyout, we have the circle command. And also for the other circle commands, we need to follow the similar set of path. So let's locate the first one, Home tab, Draw Panel, Circle Flyout. All right, I'm going to click here. So let's go to Home tab here, Draw Panel, okay, and the Circle Flyout right here. And we have 6 circle commands. So It's as easy as that. So just by using that search feature of the command, you can locate any command or tool in AutoCAD. And that was an introduction of user interface. So now let's have a look at some of the navigation tools available in AutoCAD. So in AutoCAD, you need to use a 3-button mouse with left click, right click and a scroll wheel for accessing the navigation tools. And in order to select or in order to activate any command, you need to select it from the corresponding tab and panel. So simply go to that command and left click, and the command will now be activated. And once the command is active, you'll notice that its name and also the instruction will be visible on the command line, and also the cursor will change into this point selection cursor or into a pick box, which is similar to this. So when you select the corresponding command, it will return to this either pick box or a point selection cursor, and also the name of command will be active. In order to exit this, simply press the escape key. You can press escape multiple times also if you want, so that will not make any change to the drawing. And now in order to zoom in and zoom out from the drawing, you simply need to rotate the mouse wheel. So here we have these 3 objects. Let's say that we want to zoom into this area of the drawing on the lower left of this rectangle. For that, simply bring your cursor to the lower left of this rectangle and now rotate the mouse wheel. And when you rotate the mouse wheel, it will zoom in, and when you rotate it in the opposite side, it will zoom out, and the center of zoom will be the point where you put your cursor. So in this case, if I move my cursor to the top of this triangle, it will take this point as the center of zoom, and we can zoom in and zoom out like this. In order to pan this drawing or move this drawing in the drawing area, simply press and hold the mouse key and the cursor will change into this hand, and now you can move it in the drawing area like this. You can also access these navigation tools directly from the navigation bar. So here we have this pan tool. Simply select it. Now you'll be able to move it or pan it in the drawing. And in order to use the zoom tools, simply select this small arrow right under the zoom extents tool, and we have multiple options for zoom. So you can select any of these options. For example, in this case, the zoom extents is selected as default. So if you select zoom extents, the drawing will fit completely in the area provided. So wherever our drawing is, it hardly matters. When you select the zoom extent, it will fit in provided space. Also, we have some other options like this zoom window, which can be used for zooming on a particular object. For example, in this case, let's say that we want to zoom into this circle. Simply make a window around the circle, and the circle will be brought into perspective. It will be zoomed in the current workspace. We also have some other options like zoom previous, that will return to the previous state of zoom. And also one of the option here, this zoom object. So select the zoom object, click on the object, and that object will be brought in the complete area of the drawing. In a similar way, you can also access all of these options according to your requirement or the requirement of a specific drawing. We can also access the 3D orbit tool, and using the 3D orbit tool, you can see this drawing from X, Y, and Z axis. So currently we are able to see this drawing from X and Y axis, or from the top view only, that you can see here with the top view. But in order to see it from the 3 axis, or if you want to see the height of this drawing as well, simply go to this orbit tool from the navigation bar, select the orbit tool, and now orbit your drawing just like this. And now you'll notice that the triangle is actually a 3D shape with a certain height here also. So you can orbit the drawing to see it. We also have another orbit option, which is free orbit, that is useful for viewing our drawing more freely in different axes, and you learn about these tools in much better way in our 3D course. So let's press escape key, and now if you want to access the same tool using the mouse, you can do that as well. Simply press and hold shift key, then press the mouse wheel, and now instead of pan, that will convert it into this orbit tool, and now you can orbit the drawing in the free space. In order to return back to the original condition, simply click on the top of this view cube And here we have it, the default configuration. Although the angle is not correct, that we can also correct using this small arrow here. So in this way we can navigate in our AutoCAD drawings. AutoCAD uses the very popular Cartesian coordinate system for making the drawings. And in Cartesian coordinate system, we have x, y, and z axis. Here we have this x-axis represented with a red line, the y-axis represented with a green line, and we also have a z-axis which we cannot see because we're in the 2D plane. The z-axis is pointing outwards from the screen right now. Now, all the points in this Cartesian system are measured from this point, which is the intersection of x and y axis, or the intersection of x, y, and z axis in 3D, and that point is taken as 0, 0, 0, and each 0 represents the x, y, and z axis respectively. Now if you talk about 2D coordinate system, we only have x and y axis. So the first coordinate point will be the x-axis and the second coordinate point will be y-axis as shown here. Now if you could see the grids in this drawing area, you'll notice that I have divided this complete block into 10 grids in horizontal direction. So we have these 10 grids in the horizontal and 10 in vertical direction, and the size of each block of this grid is 1 by 1 unit. So the length and width of this block is 1 unit in each direction, and the size of this big block is 10 units in length and 10 units in width or height. Now in order to find the coordinate of any point with respect to the origin, all we have to do is find out its x and y values. So let's say that we want to find out the coordinates of this point. So all we need to do is count the number of x blocks and then number of y blocks. So in this case we have number of x blocks as 10. So after 10 blocks we can make a line that will intersect this point. Now after 10 blocks along y direction, if we make a line, it will also intersect the same point. So the coordinate of this point is x10, x10, y10, and that will be 10, 10. Now similarly in this case we have this point, and the coordinates of this point will be 10 in x-axis, because after 10 blocks along x-axis we have this point here, and the y coordinate of this point will be 4 because after 4 blocks we have this point. So the coordinate value of this point will be 10, 4. Now that's the simple Cartesian coordinate system. Now if you want to use the polar coordinate system, then you can do that as well, and I have made a geometry here. Now this line starts from the origin and the length of this line is 10 units. This line is also inclined to an angle of 30 degrees. So if you don't want to specify the end point of this line in terms of Cartesian coordinate system and you want to specify it in other units, which is the polar coordinate system, then you need to represent the values as the length of line and the angle included here. So that will be the length, which is 10 units, and then the angle, which is 30. So this will be the value in polar coordinate system. So now we can represent this endpoint in terms of polar coordinates using this coordinate value, and we'll learn about this later on in this complete course. So now here we have a completely blank drawing area. So in the current drawing area, we don't know the extent of dimensions. For example, if you make a line of length 10 units in this drawing area, we don't know how long it will be. So in order to set that limit, we can use the limits command. So type limits and press enter. So now this will prompt you to specify the lower left corner, which is 0, 0 in this case. So simply type 0, 0, or you can directly press enter, because the values in this angle bracket is the default value that will be accepted if you directly press enter. So you can also directly press enter. So I'll now press enter, and now you'll notice the upper right corner value, and the upper right corner value is simply the values of coordinate on this corner. So you can see that the lower left corner values are 0, 0 and the upper right corner values are 420, 297. That means the length of this screen should be 420 units and the height should be 297 units, whatever the unit of current drawing is. But that's not always the case. In this case, the height is obviously 297, but depending upon the aspect ratio or the screen resolution or the size of screen, your length may differ. So obviously we know that the length of upper right corner is 297. So if you want to accept the value, simply press enter. And if you want to change these values, you can do so by entering the new value. So I'll type 100, 60 and now press enter. So now we know that the height should be equal to 60 unit, and depending upon that height the length will adjust automatically. But before checking that, we need to ensure that the settings are applied, and the settings can be applied by using zoom all command. So type Z for zoom, press enter, and then type A and press enter. Now the settings are applied. So let's make a simple line. I'll go to this line command and we'll learn about this line command later on in the next module. And now click at a point somewhere close to this bottom point and now make a straight line of length 60 units and press enter. And you'll notice that the length of this line is equal to 60 units, which we have already set in the limits. So now we know the limit of this current screen, which is 60 by almost 100 or 120. Now we also need to know the unit of the current drawing, and for that you can check the display unit by clicking this application button, selecting the drawing utilities, and from here select the units. So now you can see the display unit or the units which will be displayed in the drawing area from this window. So right now the length has decimal type here, which you can change to architectural. If you want to see it in feet and inches, you can see the sample output here, and I'll change it to decimal again. Now here we have the precision. So currently the precision is set to 4 decimal places. You can change it to 2, 3 or whatever value you want. So this will not change the actual precision, but it will only change the precision of the values which are displayed on the screen. So I'm changing the precision to 2 places, and now the insertion scale, which will be the scale of external geometries which are inserted. It's set to mm. You can change it to any of these units, whichever you want. So you can change it to inches, you can change it to feet or something else. So I'll keep it at mm. And here we have the angle type, which is set to decimal degrees. You can also change it to degree, minute, second, grades, radians or surveyor units. And here also we have the precision, which I'll change to 2 decimal places. If you want to reverse the direction of positive angle, you can click on this clockwise checkbox. So the anti-clockwise direction is generally taken as positive in AutoCAD, but if you want to reverse that, you can click on this checkbox to make clockwise direction as positive. So I'll keep it unchecked, and now I'll click on OK. So we have set the display unit for this drawing as well. We have also set the limits. In the next lesson, we will learn about saving these settings as a template file. So now we have defined the units as well as the limits in our drawing. We will save these settings as a template. But before saving the settings as a template, we'll change some of the parameters on the status bar of our drawing, because these parameters are really very useful, and we'll learn about these tools and these status bar toggles in the upcoming modules. For now, we'll simply keep a simple kind of setting that can be used in the upcoming lessons. So make sure that this grid display is off, although you can keep it on. If you keep it on, it will show this grid, but if it is visible, just keep it off. Also, this snap mode should be off. So that's very important option. This should be off, and when it is off, it will show like this gray icon. So all of these icons will show like these gray icons. So if it is off, it will show like this gray. Now this grid snap both should be off. Also make sure that this dynamic input is off. So in your case, you may not be able to see this kind of tool, the dynamic input tool, and if it is not visible on your status bar, then go to the customization on the far right and select dynamic input. So keep this option checked. So right now we have a lot of different options here, and only the options which are checked will show up on the status bar. So make sure dynamic input is checked, and once it is checked it will show up here on the status bar, but now unchecked from the status bar. If it is checked it will show like this blue icon. Just make sure it is unchecked. Also we have the ortho as well as the polar tracking. So make sure this polar tracking is on, not this ortho. So right now all of these options should be off except this polar tracking. Only this should be on. Also make sure that this object snap should be on, and object snap tracking should be on. So we are keeping only three options: polar, object snap tracking, object snap. So these three options should be on. Rest of the options can be kept off. So you can just deactivate all the remaining options, but make sure only these three options are on, because these are the settings that we will use for the remaining drawings. Now since we have already set our limits and units, we'll save that as well as this status bar setting as a template. Now to save it as a template, go to this application button and select save as. Now drawing template. Now this will open the default template folder, which is located deep within the installation directory. You can see that it is deep within that C drive and the installation directory, but you can save it at your desired location. So in this case I'll save it on the desktop. So I'll go to desktop and I'll give it a name, sample template in this case, and look at this, we are saving this as a DWT file, not as a DWG file. So the template has this DWT extension. Now click on save and it will prompt you for the description. If you want to add that, go ahead, do that, else click on OK. Now that template is saved on the desktop. If you want to open a new drawing with the template which you just created, you can go to this new icon and it will open this template folder. Then click on desktop, locate the template, click on open, and once again it will open your drawing with all those default settings on the status bar as well as in the background, like units and limits. So now we have completed the first module. Let's look at our first question, which is related to the topics which we have covered in this module. So we need to make a template in AutoCAD with name my template, and that template should have architectural unit display format. Also that format should be at a precision of 1/4 of an inch. Also ensure that inches is selected as the unit, and the limit of this template should be set at 50 units in vertical direction. So these are different points that you need to keep in mind. Now let's get back to AutoCAD. So when you launch AutoCAD, you'll reach this zero screen, and here in this zero screen, you need to launch it with the default template. So I'll click on start drawing, and here we have it, the default template. Now let's check the unit. So I'll type dash DWG units and press enter. Now here you can see that on command line we have 1 within angle brackets, and also 1 is for inches. So we have this unit perfectly set, but in case the unit is different here, if it is set to 2, 3, 4 or any other value, then change it to 1 and press enter, and keep rest of the settings at their default. Now I'll simply press escape here, and now type UN for units and press enter. So here we need to make some changes. The first change will be the type of display format, which is set to decimal. We need to change it to architectural, and also the precision should be 1/4 of an inch, which is here. The insertion scale should also be set to inches, and we'll leave rest of the options. I'll click on OK. Now we need to make the third setting, and in case of third setting we were required to set the limits in vertical direction to 50 units. So I'll type limits and press enter. Now I'll select lower left corner as 0,0 as specified. So I'll simply press enter, and the upper right corner should be whatever value. I'll type 100. In the horizontal direction that hardly matters, but in vertical direction I'll keep it at 50. And in both the cases I'll add this inch symbol So 100 inches by 50 inches and press enter. So we still have the old unit. The new units are not yet applied. To apply them, simply type Z for zoom and A for all. Now the limits are applied. So we have made all of these changes. Now we need to save it as a template. So I'll go to this application button, select save as, drawing template. Now specify the location. I'll go to desktop, give it a name. So let's name it as my template. And you can see here DWT extension, click on save. And with the default description, okay. Let's minimize it. And here we have it. We have this my template on the desktop.